Today we're making the Courthouse lawn block, which is block number 7. We've pre-cut our pieces and labeled them with our alphabetties. For this block, you will need, from your background, 3 4 3/4 inch squares cut on the diagonal twice, 5 3-inch squares, and 2 2 5/8 inch squares cut on the diagonal once. From your fabric D, you will need 4 3-inch squares. From your fabric E, you will need 4 3 by 5.5 inch rectangles, and from each fabric F, you will need 4 3-inch squares. First, we're going to make a 9 patch for the center of our Courthouse lawn block. We're going to use 5 fabric Bs and 4 fabric Ds. Okay. We'll just lay them out according to the pattern. Place your fabrics right sides together, pin at the bottom. Chain piecing means you will not cut your stitches between each piece. So we're going to start, we're going to use a 2.0 stitch length and a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and we're going to start at the top and sew to the bottom. We'll lay our pieces back out, leaving our stitches together. And now we're going to chain piece these. So we're going to place the fabrics right sides together and pin at the bottom. So we're going to leave all of our pieces chained together. That way you know where all the pieces go, keeps everything intact, and I'm going to show you how you press towards your red fabric. First, set your seam. Press towards your red on this one, leaving the other one in place. Just move this one in gently and press. Turn it around and do the same thing. And now we're going to put right sides together and pin. Since your seams go opposite ways, one goes towards the red, the other one goes towards the red. Your seams nest, pin each intersection. We're going to use a 1/4 inch seam and a 2.0 stitch line again, and go down your end. Do the same thing, right sides together and pin. We will set our seam, press towards the inside. I like to finger press. And now your 9 patch block is finished. Next, we're going to be working on the outside edges of our block. So our first step is to take our fabric A triangles and our fabric F squares. As you're laying this out, we're going to be making sets of 2 each time. And you have to watch the direction of your triangles, because they do go different directions. That's our first set. And our second set. And our last set. So we've got 4 fabric A triangles left that we're going to save for later. And now we're going to sew each. I'm going to show you how to sew these. And put right sides together, and you're going to pin at your 90-degree angle. And you're going to start sewing where the triangle tip hangs over. Keep doing that. Your block will come out much more accurately if you sew in this direction. And you're going to set your seam and press towards your background fabric. Continue sewing the rest of your units. And this is how your units will look when you're finished. And now we're going to work on our next unit. Let's first work with our blue. Place them like this and add your fabric E rectangles. And then lay your greens out. Put your blocks right sides together and pin at your 90-degree angle. Pin once at the end and once in the center. Just set it here. Keep doing the same thing for all four. And then you will begin sewing where your triangle tip overlaps. Clip your stitches apart. Lay everything back out and repeat the step again. And you want to take your seams, press towards the outer unit. So now we're going to trim the ears off our unit. You've got little tails coming off in 4 spots. So just align your ruler right on the edge, trim the ears off, put them in your scrap bucket. Okay, now on all 4 of your units, you're going to add a fabric C triangle to the top. So to make this accurate, we're going to fold each unit in half and mark the center. So I'm going to fold your triangle in half, put your pin in right in the very center in that crease. Do the same thing. Make a little crease, poke your pin in the crease, now you've marked your center in both spots. Put them right sides together, align your pins, remove them, and repin. And that way you know it's exactly in the center. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance along the edge. So now you're going to press out towards your triangle, and you're going to repeat this step for the other 3 units. So we've got 2 blue and 2 green. So now we want to take both green units and just set them aside for now. We're not going to be doing the next step with the fabric green, and that's very important to just set them aside. So now on both blue units, we're going to add fabric A triangles to these points. Put them right sides together, and again, pin at your 90-degree angle and make sure your fabric is laid exactly like that. Let's go ahead and pin all sides. And we're going to go ahead and sew with a 1/4 inch seam allowance on all. It is very important. Start at your tip and end at your 90-degree angle. Do not start sewing at your 90-degree angle. Okay, now take your fabric and press towards your triangles, and do not trim off any of your dog ears. We're going to do that at the very last step. Now we're on page 2 of the pattern, and we're going to make our center row. So we're going to take our 9-patch unit and our 2 green units. Put your fabrics right sides together. Your seams will nest. One will go towards the yellow, one will go towards the red. Just push your seams together and pin. Pin at each intersection and at the end. We're going to sew down the side. And just repeat. And then you want to press toward your 9-patch. So now we're on our final seam. Add your blue units to the top and bottom. And we're going to pin. Let's do these 2 first. All of your seams will nest, so just push them in together before you pin. And on this last seam, just lay it flat, pin at the bottom. Repeat with the top unit. And now let's press our block. Just set your final 2 seams. Press towards the outer unit. And then starch, using non-flaking starch. Just starch heavily, let your block sit for 2 minutes, and then press. We piece this block on the diagonal, so you don't have a line to line your ruler up, so we're going to line up these points on the ruler to trim. So you're going to line up a line with this and this. And this is going to get all your ears off. I'm going to repeat for all 4 sides. Thanks for sewing with me today, and come back on August 1st for Mrs. Taft's Choice block. See you then!